Welcome to a Management Plus training webinar. My name is Kevin Sloan. I'm a certified electronic health record specialist and certified ophthalmic technician. Management Plus is an industry leader in EHR, and we want to provide you with the documentation tools and the skills to use these tools proficiently. Today's training webinar is titled Contact Lens. Let's get started. On the workup form, there is a contact lens section right below the AR and above the manifest. If you're not going to be doing any fitting of contact lens or any fit assessment, you'll want to document your values here, as explained earlier during the previous webinar. If you do want to do some fitting and trial lens for contacts, before you add values to these controls, you'll want to click this button. Clicking this button labeled Contact Lens Detail will load onto the template arrangement and navigate you to the contact lens form. It is a static form, which means if you document values within these controls and then add the contact lens form after, the values that are on the contact lens form will overwrite what you just keyed in here because they have shared control IDs. I can demonstrate that by right-clicking on this. The first one is CTL underscore brand underscore OD. I'm going to click this button. As I mentioned, it will add onto the template arrangement and navigate you to the static contact lens form. You can tell it's static by the letter S. This control here, when you right-click, it's CTL brand OD. If we go back to the workup, now you can see that all of these controls now have data. It's there because these are just copies of what is on the contact lens form. When this form is loaded, if it has data documented on a prior record, it will load that on. And again, these are just the same as what's on the workup form. It will load those values on there. So be aware of that. If you do your documentation here, if the patient has never had a contact lens form loaded and saved on a record, you'll be just fine. These values will display on the contact lens form. Otherwise, they will be overwritten. So make sure you add that on there if you're going that route. That way you won't get your values overwritten. So let's take a look at this. Again, this is a static form, so it does have all of these values from a prior record. So we have a synopsis grid here at the top so that you can see a history of what was documented previously and the dates. Wearing information up above that. Again, it's all static, so if it had been documented previously, it would be documented today. So you can start right where you left off the last time, make modifications if you need to for the evaluation of this contact lens. And you can see the fitting history down below here. Okay, very straightforward, very easy to see this. If you do some documentation within these controls, you can see that there are buttons here that will add it to the fitting grid or move it to the final. There are some script buttons here as well for documentation of RGP values that will go behind and invisible by clicking that. Toric and bitoric. Also you have controls for that and for scleral lens. These will become invisible by clicking those. Very straightforward, very easy. Also for the final lens section here, you have controls to do that documentation. Okay. So this is essentially what they're wearing. This is the fit and the refit. This will move it down up to the grid section so that you can try several different types of contact lenses make documentation here, move them to the grid, and then of course adjust this and then move those to the grid there, so that you can try many different contact lenses on the same visit and then see all of the documentation for each lens type, each lens power. Every time you make a change, if you want that to go into the grid for your reference in the future, you'll always have that. Once this exceeds the height of the grid, a scroll bar will appear, and you can scroll up and down through this fitting grid to see all of your past values. If you ever need to have one removed, just click the minus sign, do OK, and it will delete that one record from the grid. Very straightforward, very simple. The final section here, just like the glasses, will allow you to click New to clear this all out. Load will allow you to load onto the record the contact lens values, and as you can see, it loads it back on. The only thing it will not load is the brand. You can always right click, previous visit values, and then look at the brand. If this is the brand that you want, right click, insert selected. Same with this, previous visit values, right click, insert selected, and it will put those back on there. To go to paper, you'll click this button. When the word merge is launched, which we'll do, it will load on to this, all of the documented values. You'll click File and Print to go to paper. You'll click OK, and then you'll want to do File and Save, and it will send it to the attachments section, which you can see right here. If you have an attachment type of RXs that match this, which I do not have, if you had one there, you would see a number 1 displayed next to that. Okay, to make this today's default script, I would click this button to give it an expiration date of 1 year, this for 2 years. Click Save. It will tell you it has been saved as the default prescription. And if you look at load, you can see that now we have a new date here with our values displayed within that. Works very well. Also some additional controls for your other final lens values to be documented. Very straightforward, makes it very easy. If you were to load on to the final, a specific script from the past, and you wanted to move that to the current, clicking this button would move everything up to the current controls. Okay. Clicking the last values would put the last values into this control here. So this makes your job much, much easier in getting values from the past. Be aware that clicking the last values does not necessarily mean the last record. If something had been missed during the last time that it was documented, but had been previously filled in on another record, it would go back in time until it found a record that had a value, and it would put that in. So bear in mind, this may not be from your last record. It's just coming from the last time it was documented. This completes the training on the contact lens form. Thank you.